A growing problem in America today is culture. American culture is becoming a lot more polarized. Much of Generation Z, the generation born between 1997 and 2012, have grown up with this increasing polarization. Since 2016, politics have become more divisive. Polarization has also had an impact on our culture. It's created a war fought primarily between left wing and right wing factions vying for political dominance. It's had an impact on our neighbors, our friends, our family, and more. But even worse, it's had an impact on our youth, driving them apart in shared identity and visions. Not only have we seen the younger generation get more polarized, we're also seeing a decline in mental health, a loss of trust in institutions, rising political radicalization, rising family instability, and much more. We're seeing less Gen Zers praying in pews. A nation can't remain stable without a moral foundation to serve as its base. However, morals are subjective without a supreme being with the authority to bind them. This is why American and Western culture altogether needs Jesus Christ more than ever, because if people do not submit to God's authority, it causes chaos. We see clear examples of this in the Bible. Just look at Sodom and Gomorrah. They rejected Jesus and they fell into chaos and disorder. Or they rejected God and they fell into chaos and disorder. This eventually led to their demise and destruction. We see the same exact thing happen with Israel. God created a covenant with Israel, yet they fell into sins and evil, worshipping pagan deities, lust, greed, and so on. Rejecting God's structure and law, they rejected his prophets and him altogether. We see in the books of Kings and Chronicles that whenever good kings like David and Josiah and so on followed or renewed their covenant with God, Israel prospered. But when Israel fell short, the nation fell into decline. In the end, this ultimately led to the kingdom's destruction. Essentially, the pattern we see in Scripture is number one, God establishes divine law. Two, people follow the law. Three, over a certain time, people begin sinning. Four, things get so bad that only a small, faithful remnant remain. Five, the nation either gets conquered or collapsed. Proverbs 14:34 reads, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. This is a pattern that we're seeing in real life here as well. America started with different Christian groups coming here as faithful followers of the Lord. They followed the Lord's divine mandate, preaching and baptizing people in the name of Christ. Yes, many people who did claim to be Christian did make mistakes such as slavery, murder, and genocide. But there were also many true Christians who stood up for what was right and fought against such. We see strong institutions and groups of these people advocating for the faith built up over centuries. Psalm 33:12 reads, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people whom he has chosen as his heritage. However, much of that came crashing down. It started with many things such as corruption and liberalization of theology, decline in church membership, rise in atheism and rejection of God, the Enlightenment, growing church division over politics, and so on. The church isn't a political stage or for adapting to modern theories. It is the eternal body of believers who have professed Christ, and it always shall be, for the gates of hell will never overcome the church. Yet renewal is not impossible. In the Old Testament, we see the history of the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the prophets, and even their exile, as building toward the coming of Christ. We see in Isaiah talks about the Messiah, a Redeemer sent down to earth to save humanity from its servitude to sin, not just to redeem Israel, but to redeem the whole world. For Isaiah 32:1-2 reads, behold, a king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule in justice, like a refuge from the wind, like a shelter from the storm. As seen in just one verse among many prophecies, Christ is the King. He is our Redeemer. He is our chance for salvation. He's the ultimate sacrifice, the true Paschal Lamb. All we have to do is believe. All we have to do to be renewed spiritually and culturally is believe. So then I ask you, dear viewer or reader, why do you think this chaos and decline is occurring? If Jesus truly ruled over our nation, not through a state church, but rather through simple thought, moral values, institutions, culture, and so on, would America be a better place? Would the West be a better place? Would it improve in standards? Would we be focused so much more on money or in business, or would we be focused on taking up our own cross and serving others? That is for you to decide. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.